Have you ever wondered what outside activities are most important to your personal development? Let's get into that. I'm so glad that you're here. Stick with me to the end of the video and you will see that the most powerful personal development doesn't happen in a classroom. In this video, I'm going to cover the personal power hour, your learning experiences, how you stretch and grow, and the relationships that can support you along the way. We're starting with the personal power hour. That's what I like to call it. It's how you kickstart your day. Think for just a minute about what is the first thing that you do when your eyes open in the morning, when you can become more intentional about those first few minutes of your day. The rest of your day becomes more energized. Let's stay away from some of the habitual patterns that have cropped up because we're so connected digitally. A lot of people look at their phone or their digital device first thing in the morning. What if you were to set that aside and intentionally do something different? For me, the personal power hour starts with meditation. And in full disclosure, I just started doing this a little over a year ago. And now, after doing it consistently every day for almost a year and a half, I'm noticing some powerful differences. The meditation that I choose to do in the morning is very brief, and I couple that with prayer. I consider myself to be a man of faith, and I like to connect first thing in the morning to source and purpose. And that's what my morning meditation and prayer is all about. It only takes a couple of minutes for me to get grounded and centered. From that, I move into language study. Whether you do this or not is up to you, but what will it be for you? What are you going to commit to on a daily basis that allows you to expand your mind or your capabilities or the possibilities for you? So for that same year plus now, I've been studying Spanish every morning. I chose to do this because a lot of people in my neighborhood speak Spanish, and I would love to be able to communicate with them on more meaningful levels. This also only takes me a few minutes as I engage with an app that allows me to learn vocabulary and how to string those words together and what they sound like in spoken Spanish so that I can develop some level of proficiency. And you know what? I'm a whole lot better at it than I was a year ago. I wouldn't say that I've gained mastery, but I can certainly understand my neighbors better. From the language study, I next move into scripture study. I have made it a habit for most of my life to turn to ancient texts that contain powerful universal truths. And that helps me to keep a perspective on some of the crazy stuff that's going on in our world today. And it also helps to ground me both spiritually and mentally as I spend a few minutes in those sacred writings. From there, I move into my exercise. And this is usually a half hour or so of good cardiovascular exercise that gets my heart rate up, that gets my body moving. I call this the power hour because it takes about an hour for me to do all of that. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on what the other schedule is for the day. But this is what kickstarts my day. I have interviewed through the course of my career a lot of very successful people. My podcast, Live on Purpose Radio, is where I have interviewed authors and speakers and thought leaders over the past couple of decades. I launched that podcast in 2007. That's before podcasting was even a thing. And these amazing, inspiring people all have some practice that they do every morning to start off their day. And it can vary from person to person. But what's your personal power hour? Could you start that today? Now let's move into learning. And I've already given you a little teaser for that because my morning power hour includes learning, scriptural learning, language learning. These are things that enrich and enhance my knowledge and my skill set. When it comes to personal development, I invite you for a moment to think about what books are you reading? What podcasts do you listen to? What YouTube channels do you watch? I'm glad you're here, by the way. Would you take a moment, since we're talking about that, to hit the subscribe button here and click that notification bell too, so that you have access to the amazing materials that we discuss here on this channel. As you're taking a little inventory of what it is that you're learning, I would invite you to consider that as humans, we become creatures of habit. We tend to do what we're used to doing. We tend to engage in the same activities on a daily basis. Intentional learning can open up doors for you. Think of a skill that you might want to develop. Think of a language you might want to learn, or a topic that you might like to become more knowledgeable in. This is a very brain-friendly activity because as you engage in new learning, you open up new neural pathways in your mind. And some of the research suggests that it could actually extend your life. Certainly the quality of it. In addition to the personal power hour and learning new things, let's talk for a moment about experiences that push us out of our comfort zone, that stretch us a bit. Over the last several years, I've been really interested in a topic that's pretty popular out there, called resilience. In fact, sometimes I'm invited to speak at a conference or to do a training for a leadership group on how to be more resilient. One of the best things that we can do as a human is to put ourselves in positions that stretch us a little bit. Some of my kids, when they were growing up, got involved in high school sports. One of my sons became a very elite runner. He was one of the top 2 in the state for cross country and track. He was scary fast. And I remember watching him prepare for a race. Every time he would prepare for a race, he would get down on the ground and he would stretch and he would pull those muscles and he would try to get his body warmed up through stretching. Stretching actually hurts a little. Not a lot, a little. And it's there to help us protect our body, or our mind as the case may be, from bigger injuries or from bigger problems that can result if we don't do the stretching. We do it on purpose. It's not comfortable. In fact, it's a little uncomfortable, but it helps to prevent us from injury or bigger problems down the road. Think of the stretch that way. There's a lot of activities that you might be able to do where you wouldn't feel comfortable. What if, for example, you showed up at a local comedy club on open mic night? Now that might have struck a little anxiety in your heart. Or maybe that's something you've secretly wanted to do but haven't had the confidence for it. What if you were to stretch and put yourself on a microphone speaking in front of a group of people? Or what if the stretch for you involves getting out and hiking on a mountain trail, which you've wanted to do, you're not sure if you could do it, but would that stretch you a little bit? Or maybe the stretch for you is volunteering to coach your daughter's soccer team. You don't even know anything about soccer, which, by the way, doesn't matter too much at certain levels of soccer. We need willing bodies to coach those kids. Would that be a stretch for you? What is it for you? What could you do to stretch yourself a little bit and get into an experience that helps you to grow now and put you in a better position to succeed later on? And now a word about relationships. You know, I recently had the incomparable Heather Jo Kennedy as a guest speaker at one of my events. And Heather Jo was raised in the home of Danny White. He's one of the NFL greats, Super Bowl champion. She was raised in the home of Danny White, one of the NFL greats, a Super Bowl champion quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys way back in the day. Heather learned some interesting things growing up with an elite athlete like Danny White. You've heard before that it takes a village. In fact, I've probably said that a lot in the past. It takes a village to raise a child. That's where it came from. Well, Heather Jo presented a different idea to my mind. And that was, you don't need a village. You need coaches. You need teammates. And you need fans. Now, I like the way that pulls together this idea of relationships, especially when it comes to personal development. You need coaches, people who can see things that you are blind to or that you don't see. I remember one of my coaches explained it like this. It's like we're trapped inside of a box, and the instructions for getting out of our box are written on the outside of the box. We need coaches to read the instructions to us. We need teammates, people who will collaborate with us and support us and help us to accomplish the goals that we're working on. And we need fans, people who will cheer us on and who can't wait for us to do what we do for them. I love the way Heather framed that. When it comes to our personal development activities, it matters who we surround ourselves with. Your personal development is your personal responsibility. And it's not just about you. Two great things happen when you really lean into your personal development. And one of those things is your life gets a whole lot better. I know that from personal and professional experience, but that's the selfish part. The other thing that happens is that you show up in powerful ways for the people who need you to do that. Your team, your kids, the people that you have the responsibility to lead. And I think we owe it to them as well. Are you ready for that next step? I made another video just for you. It's called How You Can Reprogram Your Mind to Be Strong and Positive. It's all about how you can reprogram your mind to stay strong and positive. Watch that video next. I've got you.